Hello and welcome to the Unapologetic Moms Club podcast. I'm your host, Janine McKinnon, manifesting maven, lunar ritualist, nature lover, sex magic expert, and empowering sex, love, and relationship coach. If you'd like, you can think of me as your witchy bestie who calls you out on your self-deprecating cycles while encouraging you to align with your highest self. And I'm on a mission to help women return to the wisdom of their bodies and nature and to embrace their inner power. If you're a woo-woo mom craving more self-love, confidence, fulfillment, and passion in your life, you're in the right place. The Unapologetic Moms Club podcast is here to help moms like you to thrive as your most radiant and happy self. Here you can find inspiration and tools taken from my one-on-one coaching sessions and group experiences to support you in your journey. We'll cover things like societal conditioning, inner child healing, pleasure practices, manifestation techniques, approachable rituals, and all around women's empowerment. My goal is to shift your perspective and to give you actionable takeaways so you can walk away from these episodes feeling inspired to create a life that ignites your soul. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful we're able to connect in this way, and I can't wait to dig into the contents of this episode with you. Without further ado, let's get into it. Today, we are digging into feminine and masculine energies and the beauty that can come from these two things being quite harmonized within ourselves, as well as the different challenges that can arise when things are off balance, which I see time and time again when it comes to productive women, high achieving women, those go-getters. I've definitely noticed it in about probably around 80%-ish, maybe a little bit more of the clients I work with have been in their masculine energy. And I'll dig more into the specifics of it, but to just give you a little bit of an insight, it's when we are doing, building our business, excelling in our career, navigating single motherhood, all of these different things, this more productive energy, hyper independence, do it yourself kind of energy is often in this masculine side or wounded masculine side, which I'll dig into a bit more, but it throws things a little bit off kilter and it makes it a real challenge to be able to flip and soften into your more feminine, receiving energy. And this is often why women end up coming to work with me because they are tired of these burnout and exhaustion cycles that come from this do, go kind of lifestyle that is so normalized in society. And they just don't want to go back there again. And they know there is a different way of dealing with it. They also can tend to have that do it all yourself attitude. They can be butting heads with their partners and perhaps not opening up about their true desires or in the true way that they would like to with their partners. And they find it hard to get in the mood. That to-do list is just going through their head. They have all these things going on, and it's just like that sexuality piece of them has been put on the back burner. And that's something that they really do want to reignite, to bring back into their life, to be able to have that playfulness, that passion, that spark again. But right now, it's just not even a thing, right? It's just it being so put to the back burner that it's more shifted focus to like the to-do list or find themselves getting caught in their head, or it's just not the right time, or this and that. So this all plays a role with this balancing of the masculine and feminine energies, which we are going to dig into. But before I dig into all the nitty-gritty, I just want to share about a little special I have going on until the end of March. It is my birthday month. I am a Pisces. My birthday is coming up on March 3rd. And so I was trying to think of a way I can kind of make it extra special. I also have 3 spots opening up on my calendar for coaching clients. So I thought, what better way than to spread the love and spread the birthday specialness that the clients that decide to hop on with me and sign up in March will receive an extra special birthday gift from me. So I usually do a nice little welcome thank you package for my clients with some different unapologetic mama merch and some other little things, some affirmation decals and things like that. But this month we're going to go extra special. So for those that are ready to make a change or want to book a complimentary catalyst call and begin coaching with me, I will spoil you with an extra special gift that includes Empress Mimi Lingerie, my favorite lingerie company. I've been working with them for years. I probably have, I want to say, over 5 sets at this point. 5 is probably within that ballpark. I absolutely love the mission behind their company, all about empowering women to feel like an empress, to feel like a goddess. They are high quality, sexy, feminine lingerie with no underwires, lots of adjustable straps to just give you the best fit that truly makes you feel like an empress or a goddess. So I will be getting a nice set for whoever wants to sign on to work with me this month, as well as some extra special things. One of my top 5 women's empowerment, sexual empowerment books, and some extra little goodies. So if you have been thinking about it or on the fence, now is a great time to hop on and just get extra spoiled at a time that you are deciding to make these changes for yourself, to say yes to yourself. I'm just going to feed into that wonderful energy and support you that much more with a little spoiling and thank you gift. Now, to get back into the dance of these masculine and feminine energies, let's really get into basics here. So I'll start out by saying that masculine and feminine energies are within all of us. It's not innately like only women have feminine energies and men have masculine energies. We all have both, and we all have different ratios of these energies within us. And they're helpful to call forward in different times. That said, overall, women tend to have more of a core of feminine energies, not always, but mostly. And men tend to have, again, more of that core of those masculine energies, and not always. And when we can really learn to play within the energies and kind of our natural ratios within ourselves, that's where we can really begin to blossom. And then there's this extra powerful, potent component that can come from finding these energies, bringing them into harmony within our relationships as well. But it really does start with us, with being able to find that within ourselves, finding that harmony, beginning to really bring that flow into things. It has this ripple effect in how we show up for our families, the way we bring our partners to lead themselves in their great balance of masculine, feminine energies. And it's truly magical. So now, what are feminine and masculine energies? So feminine is more of that yin quality, from yin and yang. It's that yin, it's that watery, it's that flow, very in touch with emotions and feeling, creativity, nurturing, very collaborative, very community focused, very intuitive. It has that sense of that darkness, that stillness, that softness, that playfulness, being able to surrender, to receive, and having that ease and that allowing. So it's very much that flowiness, being able to magnetize, to really call in those different things that you're wanting. It is having space for that stillness, which is so necessary to be able to listen to your body, to listen to your inner wisdom, your intuition, and to be able to have these things in harmony, that creativity truly flows, that communication and collaboration within your different relationships really flows in this different way that is so beautiful. Now, masculine energies, masculine is the yang to the yin and the yang. It's that fire, it's that light of the day, it's action, taking charge, leadership, strategizing, logic, decisiveness. It's that protective energy, responsibility, assertiveness, drive, discipline, very linear in its thinking. And so, it's that very, I want to say strong, not to say that feminine is not strong, but it's that very outwardly strong protector energy, can be very analytical and decisive, as I'm sure you have noticed in some, probably more than just a few conversations with your partner. When we can speak about something emotional, they tend to come back with something practical and try to problem solve and provide solutions. And so that just shows kind of those differences between that feminine, that emotional, that connection, and the masculine, with that logical, with that practicality, with that protection. Now, all of these qualities are all great qualities. We all embody these in different ways for ourselves, and especially for high achieving, productive women, we have needed to rely on our masculine energies very much to help us get through what we need to get done. We need that drive, we need that action, we need that leadership, that decisiveness, that logical thinking to be able to excel in our careers, to be able to build our business, to run a household often. And there is a time when these start to get off kilter, when we find ourselves too much leaning into these masculine energies. And when the masculine energies can go out of balance, or these energies in general can go out of balance, we can fall into what's called the wounded side of these energies. So the wounded masculine often comes out in women fearing the wounded side of the feminine. So let's dig into that a little bit more. So the wounded side of the masculine is more of that controlling, being critical, confrontational, avoidance. So these are the top wounded masculine qualities I find within my clients. The need to control everything to make sure everything goes okay, becoming very critical of their partners and what they're doing or lack of what they're doing. They can become quite confrontational about it in their communications with them. Or there's that avoidance, there's that solitude in avoiding conversations, doing things themselves, not talking about it with other people, pushing through, holding strong, but having that strong avoidance of meeting those emotions in meeting their partner, having this conversation. So this is all that wounded masculine energies. And then there are more to it that I just don't see as often in my clients, although it definitely still happens within women, but I find it is more typical of wounded masculine energies. And I think this is what is thought of as toxic masculinity, although I personally don't like that saying, because I don't think masculinity is toxic. I think we all need masculinity as well as we all need femininity within this world. And it's from these two polarities that we truly find balance and harmony. And I'm going to avoid going into a total rant on that. But these other wounded masculine qualities are more of that abuse of power, that perpetrator, that instability, where it can be very hot and cold, where those emotions run high, but there isn't that emotional control. And so often there's a lot of aggression that comes through along with that confrontation, right? And so often these wounded qualities, more so those first few I mentioned in terms of the women I work with that controlling, critical thinking, critical thought patterns, the confrontation, that avoidance, these come up because their masculine energy is in overdrive. They've had to turn on and rely on these masculine energies so much because it was needed, but now they don't know how to turn them off. This is kind of that new baseline within their nervous system, is to be this way. And so they have these different parts within themselves that are like, no, this is how we're safe. This is how we control things. This is how we keep everything running smooth. And so it can be really hard to shift out of that when we've been so reliant on it for such a long time. And often there tends to be a lot of fear around taking on the wounded feminine qualities, and having a mindset that you have to do it all yourself, that you can't depend on anyone, that you're the only one who can make this happen, that no one does it right anyway, so you may as well just do it yourself. Does any of that sound familiar? Do you feel like you have ease when you know you are controlling everything and making sure it's done? Because that's what makes it feel like it's safe, makes it feel like the ship is running. Yet, when you are having this full control, doing everything yourself, it stresses you the fuck out. You become short. There's kind of that unstableness with that lashing out because you are just so stressed out. You tend to go more into that fight or flight mode that you're easily triggered. And so you find yourself lashing out and not showing up in the way you want to when it comes to your kid and your partner. You can become critical, have those thoughts really running through your head, like I touched on before, and that avoidance of the conversations. And so, as I touched on, a lot of this is to avoid the wounded feminine because that can be seen as weak, that people who depend on others are seen as powerless. That being too emotional or too sensitive gets you in trouble. Then no one wants to deal with you. It's too much. That relying on others makes you too needy. Perhaps people have made you feel this way when you were growing up. Perhaps these are messages you received throughout your life. Perhaps you were praised for doing things yourself. So that really reinforced that, yes, being Miss Independent, doing all these things yourself is what works for you. It's how you excel. Maybe you needed to take care of others in your family. And so you were forced into that role, into that protector, provider role. Or maybe you had a big family, so you needed to take care of yourself and again have that hyper independence looking out for you. Or perhaps you were raised by a single mother or are one yourself, quite literally needing to do it all on your own for a period of time. And when that is your survival mode, that's how you are saving and providing for your family, that runs very strong within you, and it definitely served a purpose. It was very needed for a period of time, and it can be exhausting and have different types of consequences when we stay stuck within that energy and we don't find harmony between these two. And that's the thing, like this hyper independence, this go getter attitude served us very well for a period of time. That's why we developed it. And I say we because I most definitely embodied this myself. I was raised by a single mom. I bounced back and forth between both my parents' houses in my teens. And I was very much that striving straight A student for a long time. That's how I got my praise, which was by doing very well. I became independent at a very young age, moving out at 16, providing for myself, caring for myself, again, being that Miss Independent, putting myself through school, then embodying that boss babe energy. I think so much of us are very familiar with, in I guess the 2010s. And that, again, hyper independent, do it yourself, hustle hard, get things done, and it becomes exhausting. And so I really channeled that energy into really pushing, pushing, pushing and building a business. And the downside was that I was so stressed out all the time. Like there are certain moments that I remember when I was just pushing so hard, working so hard to make something happen, and I was just so stressed out, and I would lash out and be short and get triggered at all of these small things. I definitely wasn't showing up the way I wanted to for my family. My mental health, my physical health was really taking a hit. My ADHD symptoms were just massive at the time. I was feeling anxious, depressed at different points because it was just on overload. I couldn't continue doing this in that way anymore without continuing to have this massive landslide that was just affecting not only me, but everyone around me. And I was worried about depending on others. I felt that my way was the right way, that it was so hard to get other people to help because they wouldn't do it right. They wouldn't do it the way I wanted it to be done for my kids. And the truth is, it's fucking exhausting. And I see this exact same thing in my clients time and time again. They've pushed so hard in their masculine energy that they don't know how to turn it off. They're not the partner or the mom they want to be. They don't want to go back into those burnout cycles. And their sexuality is something they left a long, long time ago because they have just been too busy for that. There's always other things to do. And they've just really, when it comes down to it, closed themselves off from it. They have other priorities. They are embodying certain qualities that sexuality just doesn't come out. It's not turned on in any sort of way. It's not receptive in any sort of way. It's just kind of this thing on the back burner that is fizzling out, that they are completely disconnected from. And so they come to me wanting to get their spark back, to be able to find softness, to be able to loosen some of the control, to be okay with asking for help and creating that true connected village that they deserve, to be able to trust their intuition. So there is the first being able to slow down, to be able to hear your intuition, to be able to truly listen to it, and then trust and take action on it. It's this whole process. And when you can really learn to trust your intuition, to act on it, to voice yourself, it is so, so powerful. And with that comes being able to feel their emotions and trusting their emotions, not squishing it down so you can just keep pushing forward and keep controlling things. Your emotions are signaling something to you. The way your body feels, the way your emotions come up are telling you something. They are signs, they are signals that you need to listen to. And the more you listen to them, the more you act on them and really trust that intuition, the more you come more and more into an alignment. And with that alignment becomes the reignition of your spark to feel creative and passionate again, to actually be able to loosen the grip, that you can become playful again. Because I'm sure if you're listening to this, you can relate to just so go, 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 so stressed out. Like it's so hard to just shift into playful mode, to really be able to be present and laughing and playing along. It's really hard to shift into that when you are just in a certain kind of state. So that's what I love helping women with, to really be able to learn how to switch between these two things so that they can soften, so that they can be present, so that they can bring more pleasure and passion into their life, both inside and outside the bedroom. Because what happens when we as feminine beings embrace our feminine energy, we find our flow. We have so much emotional, intuitive wisdom. It is incredible, but we can't access it when we're disconnected from our feminine. And when we learn to build a relationship with it, we see things and we know things. We hear the wisdom of her body and we know when to slow down to avoid those exhaustion and burnout cycles. We know when to say no to taking on more things. We create better boundaries to protect our energy. We follow our intuition from a place of alignment, rather than pushing, pushing, pushing. And so when we make this shift, we're able to hold on to more of our energy. We're not giving it away to all of these different things. And we find more flow. We find more alignment. We learn that we don't need to push, push, push to get things, that it can actually come from a place of flow, that we can actually receive a lot of things by, yes, putting in the work, taking action, and being able to step back to receive, to use our intuition, look at where we need to pivot, where we need to come into more alignment. And when we do this, when we learn to loosen our grip and relinquish control, we find harmony, slowly bringing in some of that surrender, that allowing, like I was chatting about with that receptivity, collaboration. We are able to speak in different ways and work in different ways with our partners, with our friends and family, and really bringing that sense of harmony within community and collaboration to really be able to lead them to show up in a certain way. And as all of these shifts take place, our spark gets reignited. When we build a relationship with pleasure, we tap more fully into our abilities to fully experience emotion, to be able to have presence and stillness and slowing down, smelling the flowers, really dropping down with our kids, with our family, with ourselves. We're able to receive, to surrender. Our sexuality is sparked. Our creativity begins to flow, and life turns on in full color. Our passion comes alive. We begin to bring beauty into our homes to a whole new level. We adorn ourselves through the sacred act of self love and self expression. Our inspiration blossoms within our business and personal endeavors. Our bonds strengthen within our family unit and in our village. And we bring harmony into our lives. Like I said, it is truly magical how all of these things, these different ripple effects, come from something as simple as wanting to learn to embrace our sexuality, to connect with our body and ourselves. And it has this massive ripple effect, all of these other side effects that come from it, with our creativity, with our passion, with our presence. It is so, so powerful. And this is exactly what I help clients to do. I know that it can almost sound too good to be true with all of these different things and the narrative that we have around motherhood right now. And it just is the exhaustion hamster wheel and just getting by the day to day. But just because it's common, it doesn't need to be your reality. It is possible. Not only have I walked the walk myself, I've been able to support women in moving through this transition themselves. And you don't need to go balls to the walls to do this, to make everything happen for everyone else and attempt to control and have everything go well. You can find flow in loosening the reins and being able to slow down, to tap in, and let your feminine qualities really shine, to give yourself space to feel and listen. Like that is so powerful, being able to feel and listen to your internal wisdom, your internal knowing is going to help you avoid so many things, because often when you're in this masculine state, you are shutting yourself off from a lot of that emotional and intuitive knowing. And so, because you are ignoring all of these different signals your body, your soul is sending to yourself, you're overriding them and pushing and doing these other things. So, because you're overriding them, not listening, these different things are going on that are not necessarily working out in your favor. And so when you're able to slow down, to listen to this inner wisdom, you're able to take that aligned action in a different way, that action that is so much more aligned, and more doors begin to open for you. More and more connections begin to strengthen and flourish, and you allow pleasure in. And part of that allowing of pleasure is so tied into that presence. And I think in this fast paced world full of numbing out, go, 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 so many people are missing that true presence, that presence of being with themselves, as well as that presence of really dropping into your family. And when you're focused on pleasure, and pleasure is not just bedroom pleasure, the pleasure is so multifaceted and such a range. And when you notice, like for me, one of the biggest things of this pleasure journey is being able to just truly relish in the beauty of the world and nature and get so much pleasure from that fresh air, feeling the wind against your face, watching the trees and the plants sway in the wind. It is so, so beautiful. And you're able to slow down and notice these things as you do this kind of work. And the way that transfers to how you are with your family. Often dinner times can be such a stressful time, I find, for so many moms. I know certainly for myself and many others I speak with. It's the end of the day. You've been go, go, go all day. Your resourcing has definitely waned if you feel like you had resourcing to begin with, although that definitely ebbs and flows. And there's so many things. The kids are loud. It's the end of the day. Your patience is wearing thin, and it's just this stressful time. And so your kids may ask, hey, watch this, come play with me, do this. And you're trying to cook dinner and get it ready and then start the bedtime routine. And you have this list going on in your head, and it's go, 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 go. And when you're asked for things or something happens, you shut down, you're triggered, you're short. It's no. Why are you doing that? Whatever it may look like for you. And when you're able to really tap into this presence, you're able to approach these situations so much differently. Perhaps when your child is, hey, mommy, look at this. Or can you come play with me and do this? And you're just about to make dinner, you're in the middle of dinner. Rather than shutting it down right away, you're able to pause, look at what you have going on. It's like, yeah, come show me for a second. Let's see what that looks like. And really give them that connection, really see them in that moment. And it's so beautiful how you're able to compound those moments more and more and more. And that becomes really nourishing for yourself as well. And I will say, believe it or not, when you are making these shifts and really moving into your feminine energy and loosening control, loosening the reins a little bit, it won't fall all apart. I promise. If the ship will keep going, there are other approaches. And if this approach is what you've been doing so for so long and you're so stressed out, like it clearly doesn't seem to be working. And so I promise there are other ways of doing this, that things will continue on, that the ship will still sail, and that it will all be okay. And you don't have to push yourself to the brink to make it happen. That, in fact, my approach is all about that slow, sustainable growth, creating a foundation for lasting change. I give space for regular breaks for integration, and in our work together, you can know that the next time your kiddo gets sick and your childcare gets completely thrown for a loop, you won't have to restart at step one again. I think that's so common. We can like find this really good flow with these different things that are going on. And then a kid gets sick, and perhaps it passes on to the other one. Childcare gets totally thrown for a loop. You've had to cancel work and meetings and all of these things. And once you finally recover from that, it feels like you're starting back at square one again and needing to like do all of these things again. And so that's what I really support women with. And what I've seen, I've got the messages right from my clients is that even in the middle of those situations, they've been able to really notice progress, to continue to make progress because of the different practices and tools I'm able to provide them with. So, if I have sparked your interest, I would love to chat with you over a complimentary catalyst call. We can bring your desires to the forefront, really get to know what is your driving force. What do you really desire out of life? And see what challenges are in your way. What obstacles are you facing? And see how I can help. Again, I have just 3 spaces available. I did have 4, one is already scooped up. And for those who sign up during March, you will receive an extra special spoiling by me with an indulgent welcome gift, including lingerie, an empowering book, inspiring decals, a beautiful new journal, and some just really nice other goodies as well. So, thank you so much for listening. I look forward to connecting with those of you that are interested, and I wish everyone a beautiful, love, and pleasure filled week. Thank you so much for joining us inside the Unapologetic Moms Club podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you feel called, I would so appreciate it if you shared about this episode in your stories or left us a review to help us reach more women on their unapologetic mama journey. As a thank you for your support, you'll be entered into our monthly draw for a free laser coaching session. Just tag @Janine.McKinnon in your story shares, or leave the rating or review, screenshot it, and email to Janine@unapologeticmotherhood.com to be entered. One lucky winner is selected every month for a focus coaching session to support you in working towards your current desires. Until next time, trust your inner wisdom and create some magic.